Hello, YouTube. Saved by the Blood 2020 here, and I wanted to talk about the double helping of the Spirit. You know, God talks about the double portion of the Spirit, which throughout the Old Testament, um, it was used a lot to refer to birthright, usually in the Jewish race. With the Jewish people, they would treat the firstborn son had a lot more perks and privileges and was given a double portion of food, was the one that would inherit more, given double the inheritance. So there's a lot of symbology with that. But Christ, through his Spirit, is giving, a double portion of his Spirit. And I believe in these last days, that's how, there's going to be a revival of some sort. And it's going to start with the purging of the internal purging of this nation, which Trump was literally the foundational basis of that in the United States of America, because he's literally, it's like a chess match, a spiritual chess match. And you see the people, how it's playing out. But if you look how stuff's playing out in the world, you cannot deny that God's hand is not in this and judgment is going to come. Okay, but I don't know. Judgment's not always like you read this symbolic book of Revelation and everybody thinks that, there's everything's just going to blow up, which it's not going to be by fire. And there's going to be huge. I mean, it talks about earthquakes and all this stuff. All that stuff's been happening. You can look at the studies and the history of the seismic waves, and it has little maps. All this stuff's been picking up. Okay. And a lot of these things that people act like, oh, this has to be fulfilled before he can come, or that has to be. I'm not getting into that. Like, you can't play that game because there's so many different ways that certain verses can be interpreted. Like, you can apply verses to the second coming or to King to Nero, or I mean, there's so many different applications of the same verse, and no one person has it right, and that's for a reason. Okay, God's kingdom, it's supposed to be not veiled in secrecy. Okay, look how Lucifer imitates it. That's a good, like with all these, with any of these secret societies, look how Lucifer tries to imitate Christ's kingdom. Okay, so he's Lucifer, okay, on the back of the dollar bill, which, the architect of this world, which he really is the architect of this world. Architect of this world, he really is. That's what he is, the architect of this world, because he was given that right. Okay, like once he was cast out of heaven, he chose that. But it's all was necessary to get to this point. It had to reach this tipping point, that pressure, okay, as above, so below. That's, these occultists know what they're talking about. For every action, there is an exact opposite reaction. The law of cause and effect. Okay, the law of karma, the yin and the yang. All these other religions are implicating it. It's just without the deity of Christ at the center of it. That's the problem. But they still, you can't tell me that the 10 Commandments, which were in the Ark of the Covenant, which he got on the Mount, Moses, which literally all the hundreds of Jewish old laws that were derived from, but it was just a basis of 10 laws. Well, like Lucifer has his mirror, like his is the emerald tablets and the Georgia Guidestones. He always has his counter opposite of what Christ does. But so he has it, within Freemasonry, there's all these different rites. There's all these different degrees. And typically, most of the sheep stay at, within the first 3 degrees. But a lot of it's about money, but you never get up to the top. It's really hard. And usually it's about money, but you don't get up. Basically, it's more and more knowledge as you go up, they release. They don't tell these people at the bottom their true goal and intention. Like, I watched a video where they were doing blatant witchcraft that was released from Turkey that was on WikiLeaks. It's hard to even find now, but like 7 or 8 years ago. And it was like basically initiating these people into the 33rd degree. And it was like they were naming their name plus their profession. And they were all doctors, lawyers, electrical engineers. And they were like basically doing occult rituals, witchcraft. It's the same thing they're doing. I mean, it's the same thing that they're doing in these, like with the totem poles, and they're marching. I was watching Dances with Wolves. Okay, it's the same thing. I mean, they're just doing it with a lot of elite group. They're all harnessing spiritual power from this spiritual realm, and they're showing their allegiance to a God with a small g. That's what it's about, okay? That's why they're doing it. And God is coming back for this harvest, and he's going to release his spirit. There's multiple other people that are seeing the same thing. It's not just me. And once I got right, I was having like dreams and visions of this stuff, and it's like nobody could hurt me, nobody. And I don't know, like God was like, I'm gonna raise you up because I need some people. I need a group of overcomers that really understand this, that have really tasted the sin, that have really been in the dark places like I have. Okay, what good is it going to do if you were just born here, predestined? You're not, and we're perfect. The whole point of being in this flesh is to overcome that lustful, sinful nature, and that's the whole point. Okay, and I definitely tasted the dark side. I wasn't involved in like occultism and Satanism, but believe me, with the lust, that I felt all those spirits, the deepest, darkest ones, and God says you will be able to relate to these people in the end, and I'm releasing more of my spirit onto you, a double helping of the spirit, okay? And I'm not the only one. In these last days, God is raising up a remnant, his bride, okay? And what I'm telling you is you will know it if you are one of these chosen people, okay? And you can say elect or whatever. That does not mean if you're elect, like God knows your heart. That's the thing. And although I may have lived in some deep, dark sin, he knows your heart, okay? And I have a good heart. Okay, I'm good-hearted. I don't lie. Like, I feel guilty of even telling like a little stupid lie. If you can just lie about stuff and you don't feel guilty about it, there's a problem. Like, but when I was living in that dark place, literally, once you're living in a deep amount of sin, it's almost like gatekeepers of your mind. Think of it like you get into the deeper, darker stuff. It's just like when people get addicted to pornography. It's like that, and believe me, I've experienced all of this stuff. So I'm talking from experience. Okay, that same thing, you no longer can get off to the J.C. Penney catalog. It gets deeper and darker and sicker and more perverse. Whether it's in the flesh, whether it's in your mind, and literally, if you do not overcome it and turn from it, like I've literally experienced this like real time, like these spirits that were attacking me and in bondage. And once you give over to them, they have legal right to you. They have legal right to cause as much havoc in your life as possible. And God will give you over to your sinful nature just to let you learn. And by God, he'll let you lose everything, because sometimes it takes you getting to a point where you have lost everything. Like, yeah, if you're doing great, making $250,000, $300,000 a year, and you have a nice car, your wife's beautiful, everything's going just perfect for you. It's hard to ever a lot of times you don't even see the need for God. You've got it. You're living a good worldly life, for me personally, God showed me that like he needed to strip me down to the bare bones and like to get me at a point to accept it. Like he needed me to feel that, to go through that, to experience that. That's the whole point. Because through that experience, it's going to draw you closer. And yet once you're in Christ again, after you've overcame all that stuff, okay, then it's going to be that much more appreciative, and you'll never want to get out of his presence again. That's how it is for me. Okay, guys? So, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll leave a link in the description. Thank you for watching. Please keep, the nation, the president, and everything in your prayer. However, I believe that God's going to already has, gotten to the point where he's made his decision of what's coming regardless. But prayer is still powerful.